my beloved. How much longer will you keep convincing yourself this is normal? This heaviness, this exhaustion, this feeling of waking up and immediately carrying invisible weight before the day even begins. This strange ache of existing without truly feeling alive. You tell yourself, this is just life. This is adulthood. Everyone feels this way. But deep inside, something in your spirit keeps whispering, no, this cannot be all. No, something is wrong. No, I was meant for more than surviving days that quietly drain me. And my beloved, that whisper is telling the truth, because hear me clearly, you were not born to live like this. Not constantly tired, not emotionally trapped, not disconnected from purpose, not waking up every day already defeated by thoughts, fear, distraction, pressure, or habits quietly stealing peace. No, you were not born merely to survive. You were born to become, to grow, to breathe deeply, to feel life move through your spirit, instead of watching it pass while your soul quietly shrinks. But lately, something inside you feels trapped. Trapped inside routines, trapped inside thoughts, trapped inside comfort that secretly became prison, trapped inside survival so repetitive that dreaming started feeling dangerous. And the worst part? You've started getting used to it. Used to exhaustion, used to delay, used to overthinking, used to disappointing yourself, used to emotional heaviness, used to waking up saying, tomorrow I'll try harder, only for tomorrow to quietly disappear again. My beloved, that is not peace. That is not life. That is slow surrender. Surrender disguised as normal. And your spirit is tired of pretending it feels okay. You feel restless lately for a reason. Restless after wasting time. Restless after shrinking dreams. Restless after repeating habits secretly making you unhappy. That restlessness is sacred, because restless souls have not given up yet. Restless souls remember possibility, and somewhere deep inside, your soul remembers. It remembers hunger, meaning, strength, purpose. The version of you who feels alive instead of emotionally asleep. My beloved, look honestly at your life, not cruelly. Honestly, are you truly living or simply coping? Coping with tiredness, coping with distraction, coping with fear, coping with inconsistency, coping with emotional noise so loud that silence almost feels uncomfortable. Because coping becomes dangerous when it quietly replaces living. You begin surviving instead of growing, distracting instead of healing, waiting instead of moving, settling instead of becoming. And one day, the spirit wakes up grieving not because life ended, because possibility kept waiting while fear stayed in charge. You keep asking why emptiness visits after comfort, why scrolling feels empty afterward, why procrastination leaves heaviness, why temporary pleasure fades so quickly. Because your soul was never built to survive on distraction. Your soul wants truth, movement, depth, purpose, effort, connection, expansion, not endless escape. Escape numbs pain briefly, purpose heals it slowly, and your spirit is starving for purpose now. That ache you feel, that frustration, that sadness after another wasted day, it is not proof something is wrong with you. It is proof something inside you refuses to die quietly. My beloved, you were not born to constantly betray yourself. Not born to dream privately while shrinking publicly. Not born to depend upon motivation that disappears. Not born to live trapped inside cycles you secretly know are hurting your future. And I know, part of you feels overwhelmed hearing this. Because change sounds heavy. Responsibility sounds tiring. Growth sounds uncomfortable. But listen carefully. Remaining this way hurts too. Living beneath your own truth hurts too. Watching time pass while potential waits hurts too. Breaking promises hurts too. Smallness hurts too. You already know this pain. You carry it every time regret enters silently. Every time guilt visits at night, every time your spirit whispers, "I know I can do more," that whisper matters, because it is not shame. It is truth. Truth saying, you are capable of deeper life. You are capable of discipline. You are capable of healing. You are capable of becoming someone stronger than fear allows you to imagine. My beloved, there is a life waiting for you beyond survival. A life where mornings feel meaningful, where self-trust returns, where purpose grows stronger than distraction, where your spirit stops apologizing for wanting more. Not more things, more life, more peace, more clarity, more honesty, more courage. That life exists, but it cannot be built while pretending exhaustion. Avoidance and self-betrayal are normal. Something must change, and deep inside, you already know it. That knowing is why this message found you, because your soul is awakening. Awakening hurts sometimes, because awakened spirits stop tolerating numbness comfortably. You feel the difference now. Comfort feels emptier. Delay feels heavier. Excuses feel weaker, because truth is growing louder. My beloved, hear me clearly tonight. You were not born to feel stuck inside your own potential. Not born to spend life escaping. Not born to live half awake while greatness quietly waits. You were born for deeper truth than this, and the restless ache inside your spirit. It exists because something greater refuses to stop calling your name. My beloved, the hardest prison is the one people stop noticing. Not iron bars, invisible ones. Habits, fear, mental exhaustion, comfort that slowly became captivity. Days repeating themselves until the spirit quietly forgets what aliveness even feels like, and somewhere along the way, you adapted. You learned how to function while disconnected, how to smile while tired, how to dream while delaying, how to say, "This is fine," even when something inside whispered, "No, it is not." Because surviving becomes convincing after enough repetition. You begin mistaking endurance for identity, mistaking numbness for peace, mistaking distraction for rest, mistaking comfort for healing. But my beloved, deep down you already know. You were not born for this. Not for waking up without fire, not for carrying quiet disappointment in yourself every evening, not for watching days disappear while your spirit waits patiently for courage, not for shrinking your own becoming until life feels emotionally manageable. That is not life. That is existing beside possibility. And possibility has been knocking on your spirit for longer than you realize. My beloved, why do you think restlessness visits you so often? Why do certain nights suddenly feel unbearably honest? Why does guilt appear after another distracted day? Because truth keeps returning. Truth saying, you are meant to move. You are meant to grow. You are meant to stop hiding inside delay. That truth does not come to shame you. It comes to wake you. Because sleeping spirits stop believing. Awakened spirits ache, and aching is painful, but sacred. Because ache means life still wants more from you. My beloved, I know part of you feels trapped. Trapped inside routines, inside inconsistency, inside habits you promised yourself you would stop. And maybe you secretly wonder, what if I never change? What if I always return to this version? But hear me carefully. Patterns repeated are not identity. They are repetition. And repetition changes. Not through wishing, not through guilt. Through decision, tiny decision. Repeated decision, daily decision. You underestimate the holiness of small movement. One honest morning, one promise kept. One moment where comfort whispers. Later, and your spirit quietly answers, no. That moment changes identity. Not dramatically, faithfully. My beloved, you keep waiting for some giant emotional breakthrough, some magical moment where motivation floods your chest permanently. But life rarely transforms like that. Transformation whispers, quietly. At ordinary hours, wake up, try again, move anyway, return after failure, keep one promise, then another, until self-respect quietly returns. Because self-respect is built, not wished for. And your spirit misses self-respect more than motivation. That heaviness after wasted days, it is not laziness hurting. It is lost trust hurting. Trust broken through repeated self-abandonment. My beloved, listen carefully. You were not born to abandon yourself repeatedly. Not born to silence hunger for growth. Not born to negotiate with comfort while secretly grieving lost time. You were born to evolve. Spiritually, mentally. You were born to discover how strong discipline can feel. My beloved, you fear discomfort too much sometimes. But discomfort is often proof of awakening. The discomfort of discipline. The discomfort of trying again. The discomfort of facing truth instead of escape. Yet discomfort fades. Regret lingers. And regret quietly grows heavier every year ignored. The regret of unused gifts, unbuilt strength, delayed dreams, unspoken courage. You do not deserve that grief. You deserve becoming. My beloved, imagine yourself years from now, still stuck inside negotiation, still depending upon moods, still whispering, one day, how would that feel? Heavy, painful, lonely. Now imagine another future, not perfect, but awake, stronger, clearer, more disciplined, trusting yourself, building slowly, growing honestly, feeling proud after effort instead of guilty after avoidance. That future begins quietly, not through miracle. Through repeated truth, through tiny discipline, through loyalty to becoming. My beloved, there's greatness sleeping inside ordinary consistency. You think greatness belongs to dramatic people, perfect people, fearless people. No, greatness belongs to faithful people. People who continue, people who return, people who choose truth more often than excuses, people willing to look ordinary while transformation quietly grows unseen. And you are more capable than fear admits, more resilient than comfort allows, more awake than yesterday. That restlessness proves it. Because comfortable souls stop questioning. Awakened souls ache for more. And your spirit aches because it remembers. You were not born to shrink into habits quietly destroying joy. You were not born to spend life emotionally asleep. You were not born for endless delay. You were born for movement, growth, purpose, integrity. The kind of life where peace grows from honesty. The kind of life where mornings stop feeling heavy because promises finally begin, surviving the night. My beloved, something inside you is already changing. You feel it. Excuses no longer feel peaceful. Avoidance no longer tastes sweet. Comfort no longer satisfies fully. Because awakening entered your spirit quietly, and awakened souls eventually stop tolerating the life that once kept them small. You are closer than you think. Closer to clarity. Closer to discipline. Closer to the version of yourself secretly waiting beneath all the hesitation. In that version, it has not stopped believing in you. My beloved, you will sit quietly and barely recognize the person you used to be. Not because you became someone else, because you finally became yourself. The self hidden beneath delay, beneath fear, beneath exhaustion, beneath the habits quietly convincing you survival was enough. And when that day comes, you will grieve a little, not with bitterness, with tenderness, because you will realize how long you lived beneath your own truth, how long you accepted heaviness as normal. My beloved, listen carefully. You were not born for constant internal war, not born to wake up disappointed in yourself, not born to drag guilt from one week into another, not born to live emotionally divided, dreaming deeply while acting timidly, wanting change while feeding delay, longing for peace while repeating habits secretly stealing it. No, you were born for wholeness, the kind where actions begin matching truth, where promises survive discomfort, where the spirit no longer feels split between longing and avoidance. That wholeness is possible. But first, something inside you must stop surviving and start choosing. Choosing honesty, choosing effort, choosing responsibility for your own becoming. Because hear me clearly, life becomes painful when the soul outgrows excuses. And your soul has already outgrown many of them. You feel it now. The excuse that once felt comforting suddenly feels empty. The distraction that once felt relaxing suddenly feels draining. The delay that once felt harmless suddenly feels expensive. Why? Because awareness changed you. Awareness always ruins comfortable lies. And truth says, this life no longer fits. This version is too small. This cycle cannot continue forever. That truth hurts, but truth heals too. No moment where comfort politely stops whispering. Comfort will still speak. Delay will still tempt. Tiredness will still visit. But something stronger can grow. Commitment. Commitment saying, I no longer wait for perfect feelings. I no longer abandon tomorrow for temporary relief. I no longer betray possibility. That commitment matters, because commitment protects destiny while emotions fluctuate. Again, and again, and again. You deserve lighter years than that. Years built through trust, discipline. A life where evenings feel calmer because effort finally happened. A life where mornings feel hopeful because promises survived. That life is waiting, patiently, not angrily, patiently, my beloved. Hear this clearly tonight. You are not born to stay trapped inside potential. Not born to drown in excuses. Not born to spend precious years negotiating with smallness. Not born to remain emotionally asleep while greatness quietly knocks. No, you were born to wake up. To stretch, to evolve, to trust yourself, to discover what happens when truth becomes louder than comfort, and something sacred is already beginning. Because the person reading these words right now, they are not the same person who tolerated numbness before. Something shifted, something restless, something awake, something quietly whispering, enough, enough waiting, enough hiding, enough delay, enough betraying the future. That whisper is sacred. Listen to it. Protect it. Follow it. Because the life waiting for you begins the moment you stop accepting, the one quietly hurting your spirit. And I am always with you, my beloved. And I love you every day.